So good. So great to have you. We're so thrilled.
Thank
So
you.
this is Lynn Abate-Johnson. She is so amazing. Like I said earlier, she is our Lately Power user. She has 2 dashboards. She is just an all-star. She creates, manages, organizes. She does it all, and she's always got the best feedback. So Lynn, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored, and I love talking about things like this.
Good, thank you. It's so wonderful. So Lynn, if you could just take a few minutes and tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, all that good stuff.
My name is Lynn Abate-Johnson, and I'm a business consultant, and I really specialize in building relationships online and offline, but online, it kind of all goes together.
Yeah.
Word of mouth marketing has become world of mouth marketing now that we have social media in the picture. And so I've really embraced it, and it's something that comes very natural to me, building relationships, building community online for brands. And one of the brands that I'm so proud to be a part of is CTI. And that was my introduction to Lately. So CTI is the Coaches Training Institute. They are a global company that focuses on leadership development and coach training, literally all over the world, and growing. So I'm just like on every day, having conversations with people all over the world. In fact, I just answered a question from somebody in French, and it's a good thing I know a little French, because I understood reading the question. And
you didn't have to type it into Google Translate, because that's what I would have had to do.
I did that once in Spanish. I had somebody come through with a question on the Facebook DM in Spanish, so I translated that, and then I replied to them in Spanish. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's just like that's like next level community building, and like you said, you're like the community building expert. I love that. Since you are such an expert in community building, can you give us a tip that you find is really helpful for that?
I think that proximity, even though there really isn't proximity when you're in front of your screen and somebody is in a different country or somewhere else around the world or in a different city or town, you can still be close to people. You can still let people know that you care. And I often say, we are here for you, and how's it going, and what's next for you. So I always try and help people with their questions when they come in with questions, and even in the public threads, on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, there's conversations going on all day long. And I think that creating a sense of proximity really helps people feel closer to you, closer to the brand. And, it instills loyalty, it instills trust. And those are the coin of the realm, for doing business. It always was that way. Now we have these digital tools that make it even more important to let people know that we're right there with them. We're holding their hand through whatever experience they're having, whether it's complaint, a challenge, or whether it's yes. This type of marketing actually assists sales in so many different ways, because we can bridge the introduction of the person to the brand all the way through to the sale, and having them go to the point of sale, which is typically, for an online business, it's the website, right? So I get to bridge that gap, like holding their hand all the way to unlocking, that door where they get to become a part of the service or the product that they're interested in. So I think proximity, like creating that sense.
Yeah, and that's really like a lot about connection, and that's important. It's sometimes it can be hard to connect with people in this day and age, right? But it seems like you are so good at it. Do you have any advice on how to connect better with people? Because you are so amazing at it. Like you and I have only chatted a handful of times, but I feel like I've known you forever already.
Well, there are no pretenses. There's like, I am who I am. And, this isn't something that, you can learn how to relate with people, Over time, you can evolve in that. It's definitely something that's not taught in school. I was raised facing customers from the time I was a little kid. And so I appreciate, I was also raised that you answer the phone on the first ring, for example, way before we had digital marketing. And so when I respond to people in social media threads, just like, offline, I virtually pick up the phone on the first ring. So I try not to let people wait too long to hear back. And I'm just, I have real conversations. And, sometimes when I'm working on the weekends and late at night, that's when you'll hear from me because I'm in there scheduling posts. And, I do that because it frees me up. So lately has been amazing for me because it's been able to free me up to relate and build these relationships all day long in real time. And so the first thing that I do in the morning is, I go to my channels that I'm managing and I look and see who's there and who's talking and what they need and how I can be of service to them. So that piece of the connection is just, it's, I don't want to say it's 24/7 because of course I sleep. But also when you're working with global companies, it's super important to be aware that people are from different cultures as well as different time zones. And they don't all celebrate Thanksgiving or any of the holidays that we celebrate here. Right. So you have to kind of be sensitive to that as well. So as a community builder, you're wearing a lot of hats, and that connection for me comes naturally. And I think for most people, it comes naturally if they're interested in developing that muscle, working.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a really good point. And, I think a lot of people don't really think about it that far into it, where if you're communicating with people and you've built this worldwide connection, there are going to be people coming at you at all these different times. And I think that is really something important to remember. And that's a really excellent tip, because even I wouldn't have really thought too much about it. So let's talk just a little bit about inspiration and how you get inspiration. What do you do when you're stuck? That kind of stuff. We would love to hear about that.
Well, so you've been talking about the content library, and within lately, and I really am excited because I do have 2 accounts. I have one for my own brand and my clients, and then luckily CTI already had lately on board. So now I go into the content library or the links that I've put, because I store links in lately. And if I'm stuck or I'm feeling like, I can't really figure out, where to go, like it's today and maybe I haven't scheduled a post for today and I want to do something that's time sensitive, not evergreen. I'll just go to either my content library or my links. And it's kind of like a recipe. Like I love to cook and I love to feed people. And so sometimes if I'm not inspired in the kitchen, what do? I open a recipe book. So lately it's kind of my recipe book because it helps me to store things. And I also have the Chrome plugin, which I love because I'm always searching for great content, especially evergreen content for my clients. And so I have an extensive library of blogs that I read and that I go through, and they're themed according to the type of client that I'm working with. And so that's where I go for my inspiration, and, some of the different blogs that, I'm in lots of networks with people who are doing community management, and, I learn from my friends that are doing it. They teach me and kind of, we share ideas. So sometimes I get inspiration that way as well, or I'll pick up a book and, I have so many good books around here. I'm like a book fanatic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Whenever a new marketing book comes out, I buy it, but instead of reading it cover to cover, I'm what I call a book browser. So I'll take a book and I'll open it up, and whatever page I open it up to, I know that's the page I needed to see at that moment.
Oh, I love that. That is my favorite. Yeah.
So yeah, a little bit of inspiration comes that way too.
That's a good one. I like that because I'm also that same way. Like if something happens, that's the way it was meant to happen. That's what's supposed to happen. And I like that idea with the book thing. I wouldn't have thought of that, and I really like that. That is a good tip for inspiration and when you're stuck.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that came out of like survival mode for me because I buy books like crazy, and I also have audiobooks because I go on long road trips sometimes.
Mhm.
So I really appreciate the inspiration that I get from the books and also from everyday life. So, relating to people online is exactly the same. When people say IRL, it's not IRL because it's all, to me, it's all real life. There's no difference. It's online or offline for me. It's not IRL, it's online or offline. So where are you building relationships? Well, we need to build relationships everywhere.
Yeah.
And, the offline relationships to me are a healthy extension of great offline relationships. And
Oh,
so
that's
that's why
fantastic.
I go to conferences and, I make a point, like in these next few weeks, I'm going to be planning what conferences I'll attend next year.
Mhm.
Um, I've had years where I didn't go to any conferences. I took the year off because I felt like I had enough. I was fulfilled enough. I was fed enough. And now I'm relating with those people online that I made friends with offline and
Mhm.
vice versa.
Awesome. Well, Lynn, we're so sadly out of time, but thank you so much for joining us today. This has been so wonderful, and I know that I really enjoyed this, and I'm sure that everyone else has too. So thank you so much, and we can connect after this if you have some time, if you'd like.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say thank you for your extraordinary customer service.
Ah,
And a lot of times when I look for a software, I don't look at the price. I don't look at almost anything else except how their customer service is. And yours is just so amazing. So I wanted to thank you for that. Thank you again for having me today.
awesome. Thank you, Lynn. We'll talk soon, okay?
Okay, take care.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone, for joining us.